A couple weeks ago, Simon reached out to me, and he was like, you know what, Francisco, can you come introduce Paul to the stage? And I'm like, yeah, that would be amazing. It's definitely a very different event than what it was when I started back in Columbus in 2018, much bigger event. So I emailed back Simon, and I was like, Simon, can you give me some pointers of like, what do I say, what I do on stage? This is a much bigger stage. And as you guys know, Simon loves to play little pun jokes with the fact that I treat dogs and not human beings. So then all his emails said to me was like, what do you want me to do? Throw the dog a bone? And I was like, okay, all right, that's what you want me to say on stage, so there you go. I'll say that on stage. But I'm not here to talk about Simon, even though we all love him. I am here to talk about Paul, introduce Paul on the stage, and if I don't rush up and get that done, I'm sure they're going to start playing the Oscar Get Off the Stage theme song, and then Barry is going to walk into stage and slap me in the face for making fun of Simon. So let me talk a little bit about Paul, and then I'll be off my way. But met Paul back in Memorial Day weekend 2018, so it's going to be a little bit over 4 years now that I've been part of this community. Lots of people here that have been part of this community even longer than I, and even more people that I'm just getting to see your faces for the very first time since I haven't been in these events for the last couple of years in person. And you're probably wondering, you're like, why do these people hang around for so long? Why are people here with Paul for 3, 4, 5, some, Simon just showed in the picture, some like 6 years since their first event in San Diego. And I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. And one of the things that keeps me around this long is honestly how genuine Paul is. And I had that opportunity to find out about that even before I joined the 4% Club. So I met Paul at this conference for physical therapists in Clearwater, Memorial Day weekend 2018. And actually, there was a pre-conference day that I was a part of with about 12, 15 other people, and Paul spoke to us about business and stuff for a couple hours. And that already kind of like got my attention, just his way of speaking, his way of teaching, his personality, to the point where when he went on stage then over the weekend, I was like, whatever this guy has to offer, I'm going to buy because I need it. And that was Business Accelerator, I think it was 3.0 or something like that, was one of the first ones. And that was all good. So I was very excited to join the Business Accelerator program once I got back home from that weekend. And coincidentally enough, then I was flying out of Tampa Bay Airport, and at that point in time, Paul actually still lived in the UK, so he didn't live here in the United States. And I walk into one of the restaurants at the airport just to grab a bite before my flight, and restaurant is fairly empty because it was probably about 2 p.m. or something like that. And then the hostess asked me, "It's like, where do you want to sit?" And then I look around, there's tons of empty seats, and I see Paul in the corner over there, and I was like, "Can I sit over there?" And she was like, "Sure," and then I start walking that way, and Paul kind of like at first hides a little bit. No, just kidding. He acknowledged me and stuff, and he said, "You know what, let me finish my food over here, and then we can chat for a little bit, because I have some time before I go to my gates." And that's exactly what happened. We chatted for a good 45 minutes, 1 hour. He didn't have to. He could have just said hi to me and go his own way. But we had a very good conversation that day. He got to know a little bit more about me, about my business. And then he invited me at that point in time to go to the Columbus Mastermind event as a guest, and then that was it. Then I joined in Columbus, then joined the CEO afterwards, and the rest is kind of history. So that's the reason why I feel like I stay behind. So like I said, I can't speak for everyone, but I just wanted to thank Paul for what you built, what you teach, but also for just being the same person, no matter if you're meeting Paul just today for the first time, if you're going to meet him this evening at the party, if you have talked with him in different events, if you got to see him in celebration, or if you just run him at the airport, you're going to notice that he's the same person. He doesn't change who he is. And I feel like in the PT coaching business world, that's very hard to find. And that's why I appreciate that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Gough.
All right, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Somebody says good morning. Say good morning back. Good morning, everybody. God, where do I start? Where do I start? I mean, I'm listening to that, and I listen every time as to what people say, and it's pretty cool. I think I said this last time. It's almost what you want to hear. When you've died, you hear these things. You know, you go to a funeral and people say really cool things about you, and that's kind of what it's like when you get to listen to these stories before people come up. But the stories is Francisco's. The story is yours. I'm just here to connect you guys together, to share some things, to hopefully give you some ideas, some tips, some things that are going to help you in your life, help you in your business. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. I certainly do. Simon does. The team do. And I hope as we get together and stay together over the next 3 days, 4 for some of you, you're just gonna have the time of your life, and that's what we're hoping for across the next few days. So welcome and thank you, people from all over the world. It's just, I'm honestly, sometimes I'm lost for words when I watch some of these things go on. But let me kick it off. I've got lots to share with you. We've got a lot of fun. We've got a lot of slides. We've got a lot of teaching. We've got a competition. We've got lots of music. We've got lots of booze. We've got margarita coming. We've got all of the important things and a few other things to boot coming over the next few days. But I'm going to kick it off with a little story, as I like to do. So yesterday I woke up and I put the TV on. And the night before, my kids are really getting into basketball right now. So Tobias and Harry are really, really getting into basketball. And we got them a coach. He's called Coach D. So Thursday night, Coach D and 5 of these kids, Harry and Tobias, they're in the basketball arena, and the coach gives them some homework. He says, look, guys, like, this is what you got to do. He said, I've got this trick, and he said, I want you to work on it all week. He said, what will happen? He said, if you work on it 1 hour a week, and everybody else works on it 1 hour a week. And the kid said, well, I don't know, what will happen? He said, well, what will happen if you work on this trick 1 hour every single day, and everybody else around you works on it once a week? What would happen? Within days, within weeks, within months, definitely within years, you would be head and shoulders, quite literally, above the rest of your competition. And I listened to that story, and I'd heard it somewhere before. But the first point that I want to raise is ultimately, that's all life is. Life is just a commitment to doing something better than somebody else over a sustained period of time. It really isn't that difficult. The information, the knowledge, it's all out there. It's everywhere you want to get. YouTube, Facebook, books, it's all there. Ultimately, the difference that will make the difference is your commitment. Your ability to put that extra 1 hour a day, 1 hour a week, 1 hour a month, whatever it will be. Feel like going home at 4, stay till 6. Don't feel like writing emails, write another email. Don't feel like doing the sales call, do the sales call. Don't feel like reading the books, read the book. Don't feel like listening to the podcast, listen to the podcast. So I went back and I thought, where have I heard the story? And it came from Kobe Bryant. So I woke up on Thursday and I said, look, lads, let's put this on. It's better than Minecraft. It's better than whatever it is you watch, Mr. Beast these days. Let's put this on. And he came on, and Tobias said, why are you putting this on? I said, look, Kobe's going to teach you how to play basketball. Let's watch it. He said, but he's not really showing me anything. He's talking to me. He's not doing any basketball skills. He's just talking. I said, but son, it's not all about just doing the thing, because most of the success in your life is going to come from understanding why and how you do the thing. And as you look around the world and you see people who are a little lost right now, working very hard, often on the wrong things, sometimes they don't understand the why or how to do the thing that they're doing. So I said, look, the truth is, as you make it through this life, 80% of your success is in your head. 80% is the psychology. 80% is your understanding of yourself. 80% of it is you figuring out why you do what you do, how you do what you do, why you feel about what you do. 80% of it is your ability to manage yourself, your emotions, your time, to think clearly, to think differently. And 20%, it's throw the ball. The world, it appears to me, has got it the other way around. That as I look at Kobe, and I watched it again this morning, and I put it back on. And Kobe talks about this idea that at a very early age, he knew that the secret to his success he says quite clearly, I didn't have the biggest hands, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't necessarily the most skilled. He said, but I realized if I worked an extra hour or two every single day, and I stuck at that over a number of years, I'd probably be as close to the best that I could be. But he needed that psychological understanding of what it would take to be great. And I think as you look at your life or you look at business, 20% of it is, can you do it? You know, can you put in business, can you do the hire? Can you make the hire? Will you make the hire? Can you do the marketing plan? Will you write the marketing plan? Will you look at the numbers? Will you fill out the spreadsheets? Will you collect the data? Will you do whatever it is you need to do? That's the equivalent of throw the ball. But the other 80% is you really understanding yourself and what business is, and the love of business, and the love of why you do what you do. I put it back on this morning, and Harry looked at it, and he said, Dad, what are you putting this on for? I said, because Kobe's going to teach you how to play basketball. He said, but he's dead. I said, that might be true, son. I said, but there's still a hell of a lot we can learn. Fundamentals do not change. The fundamentals of how to be successful have never changed in 100 years. They'll never change in the next 100 years. And as I listened to the story, and Kobe comes on, he talks about the fundamentals of how the secret to his success was getting the basics right. He said, when I was 12, I spent an entire year working on some very simple passes. And then when I was 13, I figured out how to jump. And then when I'd figured out how to jump, I figured out how to do something else. And then when I was 15, I figured out how to do the next trick. And he said, I just mastered the fundamentals. And over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I became significantly better than everybody else. And I thought about that for a brief moment in the context of what we're doing today. Ultimately, I think that's the secret to all of our success. If I look at my own story, I'd like to tell you that there was anything. You know, you look at the pictures from San Diego. If this is a success, if you want to call it a success, it's happened because of a mastering of the fundamentals, just the basics of business, the basics of commitment, of discipline, of sacrifice, of giving up my time, giving up my money when I could have been doing other things. There isn't anything special going on here other than a commitment to mastering marketing. Nailed it. Then figure out next problem, sales, nail it. Next problem, probably going to have to start hiring some people. Nail recruitment, figure out how to hire people. Okay, great, next thing, I know how to hire people, but can I keep them? Great, I figured out how to keep them. Now let's figure out how to motivate them, how to keep them top performing, how to get the best out of them when nobody else can. How do I get 15 people to do the job that another business owner might need 22 people? Because the difference is all mine. And ultimately, that's your story. Your story, as you look back in the next 10, 15, 20 years, if it's a success, it already is, but if it's at the success that you want to get to, it will be because you figured out how to master the fundamentals. You didn't bounce around. You didn't shortcut the process. You didn't come to a seminar and think, that's it, I've nailed it. You didn't buy the book and not read it. You bought the book and you read it 37 times. Natalie's around all weekend. You ask her, every holiday, there's a book in my hand, I've probably read it 72, I couldn't tell you how many times I've read the same books. The clue is in the fact that I carry different highlighters. There's like blue and there's green, and that one was when I was in Portugal, and that one was when I was in Spain, that one was when I was on a flight. The success is a mastery of the fundamentals and the basics. And with that comes a love of it. So what you see here is a love of business. It's a love of life, if I'm perfectly honest with you. It's a love of life. And that didn't come naturally. It didn't get given. It wasn't, there you go, son, congratulations, there's the key to the house and the love of life. It's been a long and a constant, lifelong, forever commitment to the basics of just trying to figure out myself first and then ultimately seeing what I can do to help other people in this type of scenario. So as we lean into the next 3 days, you're going to hear some really cool things. You're going to get some strategies. I'm going to challenge your thinking. I'm going to push you. I'm going to take your thinking to a place probably that it's never been, and you might not like some of it. But that's probably why we need to go there. But underneath all of that, I want you to remember that success really is underpinned by a mastery and a basic understanding, implementation, and execution of the fundamentals. A marketing plan is still the best place to start. A hiring plan is the next place to start. A cash flow forecast. All of these basic, boring things that you're going to need to execute to be successful in business. If we can sprinkle on top of that a little bit of discipline, a little bit of understanding of yourself, why you feel the way you feel, changing your outlook, changing the meaning of things that happen to you, business is going to chuck things at you every single day. And if you can figure out how to deal with those things, you don't take them personally, you don't go to bed at night thinking, why me? Why does this keep happening to me? The same shit happens to me, candidly, every single day. If you whinge about it and I laugh about it, I'm probably going to have a completely different outcome than you. And if that happens every week, every month, every year, over a 5-6 year period, the guy that chooses to laugh, the guy that chooses not to take it personally, in the words of Colby, you'll run away from people. And that's the gaps that you see open up in life. So there's nothing special going on. It's just a commitment to the absolute basics. And every great that I study, all roads lead back to fundamentals, right down to Michael Jordan. Studying the things that guy says. What's the first thing you do every single day? This is in an interview. What's the first thing you do every single day when you arrive at training? Chest pass. 10 minutes, chest passes. But doesn't the greatest player in the world know how to do chest passes? Surely it's the most simple, basic thing that you could ever do. But that's why he's the greatest player in the world. So fundamentals, a love of the game, business, a love of life. Let's kick the weekend off with those thoughts.
Thanks for watching this video, and if you found it helpful, and if you now find yourself thinking, I wonder what else this person can help me with, head over to paulgough.com/books, where you can find my best-selling books, which will show you how to add more profit to your practice. Or send an email to paul@paulgough.com to ask about how we can help you accelerate the growth and profitability of your clinic. And by the way, if you know anybody who would find this helpful, please share this video out. Thanks so much.